Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Biden's VP and my prediction for who will be Biden's VP. So we're going to talk about the short list real quick. We're going to talk about who should be his VP from this short list and who will be his VP. They are different. All right, so rock and roll. Let's do it. All right. What's the short list? Short list is short. It is Elizabeth Warren. Big baller candidate that we all know from the primary race. Elizabeth Warren was in it from the gate. She never quit. She went all the way through Super Tuesday. I I gained a huge amount of respect at the end when Elizabeth Warren dropped out, and the reason why was she one. I lost a huge amount of respect for Amy Klobuchar when she dropped out before Super Tuesday. She did not give her, the voters who stood behind her and pushed her and gave her so much momentum. She's like, I'm not even going to give you a chance that you can make me president. I'm going to bow to the king and back out. I really thought she was a heartland stalwart. Turns out she was a coastal elite all along. It was pretty upsetting, right? So, now I will say this: Amy Klobuchar, whoo boy, she is a maneuverer. When she dropped out of the short list and said, "I am no longer," and I think she stunned Biden with that announcement. She was like, "I'm bowing out, and a black female should be VP. That a black woman should be VP." That was brilliant because she had a lot of problems dealing with the BLM issue in her own state. She had not really made it clear that Black Lives Matter in her own state through execution of policy. There was still a big question mark, and in this election there cannot be a question mark. It became very clear that you really needed to be able to execute on this. So I think it's one of the reasons why Pete Buttigieg went out so early. So, Amy Klobuchar took herself off the list. The moment she did that, she nixed Elizabeth Warren. Uh, I have huge respect for Elizabeth Warren, and I think, and I don't, she's not the one. Oh, you know what? Actually, we'll get there. Yeah, actually, I'll say this early. I think Elizabeth Warren should have been the VP, and the reason why is from this short list. She's only one of two candidates that would shake the foundation, right? When Elizabeth Warren got in, she would have done stuff, right? She would have been like, I had plans from the gate. I know what this job is. I want it. I'm capable of it. Let's do this, right? And by the time she was done. It was very clear to me that her desire for the job was genuine, and her drive to accomplish things while she was in was very, very genuine. So I think she should be Joe Biden's VP pick. She absolutely will not be Joe Biden's VP pick, and the reason why is Amy Klobuchar politically cut her throat when she said, this should go to a black woman. I'm not. I'm not convinced that Amy Klobuchar was wrong, but I don't think that Amy Klobuchar said that because she believed it. I think she did it because it took care of a political problem she had in her own area, right? And so it was just a political maneuvering. And by the way, I just want to remind everybody, more and more, I am backing away from saying this is right, this is wrong. All these politicians, it's always wrong, 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 right? I would say one decision in 100 now is right. So if you're a political commentator, all you're talking about anymore is just framing, positioning, and tactics and strategy. It's a waste of time to even discuss right or wrong because we are not electing people who have any concern for right or wrong. It's all, framing, positioning, tactics, and strategy. That's all that's left, right? Especially right now, like Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Snake versus mongoose, like cobra versus mongoose. Like what? I don't know. And guess what? Biden ain't the mongoose. Biden ain't the cobra. Wait, no. You know what? I think Biden would be like kind of like a corgi who was watching that match. I don't know. Okay, sorry. that analogy kind of slid out from under me. All right, so let's keep moving. All right, so I really think Elizabeth Warren should have been Joe Biden's pick. She absolutely will not be Joe Biden's pick, and the only reason why is I don't agree with half of what she would do, but at least I have respect that she had a genuine care for what she wanted to do, and she really had plans for what she wanted to do, and she even had the ability to execute her plans. That's a lot nowadays. That's a lot, right? Because Joe Biden ain't got no plans. He certainly doesn't have any ability to execute any of his plans, right? Like that's like 2 out of 3 off the list, So, yeah. All right. Next is Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan governor. What's she gonna bring? Like I didn't even know her name before she was put on the short list, and that's a big problem too. Is like, oh, and by the way, she would not be what Amy Klobuchar said the candidate should be, right? So that's not going to help with the BLM issue. Like the candidate needs to speak to Biden, recognizing the BLM momentum and doing something about it. And putting Gretchen Whitmer in there, that would be turning your back on what the BLM movement was trying to accomplish, in my opinion, right? Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan governor, no way, not going to be the pick, right? Shouldn't be the pick, not going to be the pick. All right. Kamala Harris, boo boy, there you go. All right, rock and roller from the primary race, real swinger, and frankly, she took a few swings at Joe Biden early on. I think it was debate number 2. She took political daggers to Joe Biden, and just tore him politically apart. Like basically, she was like, "You kicked me off the bus, Joe Biden. Like I was segregated because of you." Right? She said it with a few more words, and she kind of danced around it a little bit more, but she went right at his political throat with dual wielded political daggers. It was bloody. I remember it. It was one of the biggest, most vicious political strikes of any of the debates, right? And then for many debates, she just tore him apart. So now, if she waltzes in as VP, she looks very disingenuous. She looks like a political climber. I feel like it's very disingenuous. If you've been telling people this person shouldn't be president, like this person was responsible for my BLM issues, right? For my issues as a black woman in America, this person personally was part of that problem, and then you're like, hey, I'm his VP, woo! Like you're just kind of being super open that it's all politics, and I don't think you could be that open, right? Well, you could if you were like Trump, but the Democrats are, like protesting that and are trying to say we're not like that. So Kamala Harris can't be the pick. She absolutely can't pick the pick. I do think she would have been. I do think she is top. I would put her right under Elizabeth Warren on this list. And actually, I do think that Joe Biden should be picking somebody who is in the primary race. Because nowadays, if you're a governor or you're like, I'll tell you a couple more, names in a minute. That's not enough. That's not enough name power to really bring anybody to the party, to bring anybody to the ticket. Kamala Harris could have brought voters, right? Elizabeth Warren can bring voters because people know their names, right? Gretchen Whitmer, she's gonna bring she's gonna bring a couple friends from Michigan. Come on, right? All right, let's talk about the last two. Now oh, by the way, Kamala Harris is a black woman, and so she would fit. And if she was picked, it would help to say, hey, me, Joe Biden, I care about the BLM momentum, right? But there's no way. There's just too much bad blood there. There's no possible way. Also, Kamala Harris is, super tough prosecutor, which that was one of the biggest issues they were talking about in the BLM movement, is how people were treating black people in the law system. And so it really looks, at this point, like just the optics of it are bad, that Kamala was not part of the solution, that she might have been part of the problem. Even the question mark is a problem, right? All right, so let's talk about the last two. Karen Bass, California Congresswoman, okay? Congressperson, come on, like that's maybe we know a few senators now, but congressperson, come on, like the only famous one is Tulsi, and that's only because she ran in the primaries, right? Susan Rice, AOC is a famous congresswoman. She's turned that into something. She's a famous congressperson. And then last is Susan Rice. Now this is a little on the nose. She's UN ambassador to the United Nations. Woo! That's as blue gets. Now, Susan Rice and Karen Bass are both black women, so if either one of them is chosen, they will show Joe Biden cares about BLM momentum, right? So who's going to be the pick, right? So one, it's going to be Karen Bass or Susan Wright. I'll tell you which one. Now the reality is, I think these two people are interchangeable. They're non-famous black women who are very safe picks, right? Because they both have a few like minor, this they didn't say this right, they didn't say that right in the past. No big deal, and frankly, nothing they said before really matters that much because nobody knew about it until they got on the short list. Both these people were like, they're not even YouTube famous, right? Like they're just like nameless U.S. politician, right? There's even non-famous senators, right? Both of these women were not at the level of Elizabeth. Now, first of all, like I totally respect their service to the nation, but you got to bring celebrity, you got to bring some votes, right? And Karen Bass and Susan Wright, they're not going to bring any votes to the party. California, you're going to bring liberals to a liberal ticket? Come on, like, yeah, that ain't going to help. And Susan Wright, all the fans of United Nations, like that's 4 people in America, right? So Susan Wright, not good pick. And so these people are not going to bring anything to the ticket, right? As far as votes to the ticket, I think they're both very smart, very capable women, and I think they can. That both have had like minor, things that they said in the past that were a bad idea, but I think overall both of them are smart and capable. But they don't bring anything to the ticket as far as winning this election and beating Donald Trump. Nothing. I don't think they bring anything to that, right? Like the votes could be counted in a handbasket. So which one is he going to pick and why, right? So I think it's going to be Susan Rice, and the reason why is you cannot get more blue than U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. And so I think the blue people who are making the blue decisions right now, the blue power base, they will like her a lot, right? And then the other thing is, so why would you not pick Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren? So one of them, if you pick either one of those are incredibly determined women who have a plan and have the ability to execute their plan, right? I think between the two of them, Elizabeth Warren is a much, much, much better politician and would be a much better leader than Kamala Harris, just based on wherewithal, the ability to go longer in the race, a whole host of things, right? But neither one of them are going to get picked. And the reality is, the reason why is they're real candidates who will bring real votes to the party, right? And who would execute real plans, right? And with Joe Biden, there's not going to be any real plans. There's not going to be really any real plan execution. The whole thing is stop Trump. That's the whole plan, right? It's just not Trump. And then even more than that, why would you pick Susan Rice, right? She's not going to bring anything to the ticket. Well, the reason why is it doesn't matter who you pick as long as they fit that model that Amy Klobuchar put, right? You're keeping your promise. That's one, right? You're showing that you are supporting the BLM momentum. That's another thing you're doing. But the reality is, right now, no one is voting for Joe Biden. Everyone is voting for the party, right? It's vote blue no matter who. You don't vote for the candidate, you vote for the party. That's what's happening right now. And so it didn't really matter if it was Karen Bass or Susan Rice. So I think it's going to be Susan Rice. I predict Joe Biden will pick Susan Rice. Susan Rice will be the VP pick. That is my prediction. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if I'm wrong. I'm going to be right. And basically, and it should have been Elizabeth Warren. I really, based on the promise he made, which I think once he made that promise, he had to do it. So it should have been Elizabeth Warren. It's gonna be Susan Rice. You heard it here first on YouTube. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. I'd love to know who you think his pick will be. What's your pick for who should be and who will be? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.